This looks like a normal start to survival world, doesn't it? Which, I mean it is, but there's a catch.
What's the catch? What is it?
Well, I am so glad you asked. But every minute or so, I lose gravity and my ability to stay on the ground. And today my only goal is to beat Minecraft. As of right now, I was just looking around for iron, so once I got back to the ground, I decided to smelt some of the iron that I had found, and I kept trying to time it right on when the gravity would change, that way I wasn't in the air, out of the air, back and forth, but that didn't work. So eventually I made a bucket to try to clutch every time I slammed right back into the ground. But safe to say that didn't work either. But while I was in the air, I did find a village and a portal. And so I took the village for all they had. Took their iron, their diamonds, their pickaxes. I took their beds and even more beds and potatoes. Raided all their farms, because why wouldn't I? And so while I was in the air, after, raiding their houses, I decided to smelt more of my iron, and then once I was back on the ground, I decided to take more beds, that way, I could prepare for the end a little bit. And eventually I got to the ruined portal, and there wasn't really anything too good in there, but I did have enough obsidian to finish the portal from the village. So that's exactly what I did. I'm not entirely sure how I didn't notice the burning tree to my left, but it's not there anymore, so it's not a problem. So then I just made a few things that would help me in the nether, and I made my way in. And I was trying to use this no gravity thing almost as strategically as possible. And so I kind of just glided on the roof of the nether, that way I could just get into the fortress a lot easier. And eventually I did actually make it in, and I was very, very quickly met with the blaze. I tried blocking it off, but that didn't work either, because I lit on fire, and I turn around and there's 15 blazes in front of me, so I immediately sprang into battle here. But I'm already losing. It's been maybe 10 seconds and I'm already losing this battle, so I chow down some bread, wait for my hearts to heal, and get right back to it. I did in fact die a few times, but that's irrelevant. We're gonna ignore that because, honestly, I'd say I'm doing a lot better with these blazes than I used to. I'm dying less, I'm able to dodge their attack and predict them a little more. But I did in fact run back to my little hidey hole because I got scared and I was about to die. But eventually I made a little area to where I could get the blazes from down under. I have no idea why I thought this would work, but I mean it kind of did, kind of didn't. In fact, I couldn't even reach them from where I was at, so I resorted back to just, going face to face, and they won. So, but me, a resilient soldier, warrior, if I must, I don't give up, so I went right back in. Yeah, I'm on fire, but that's nothing a potato cannot fix. Yeah, I died again, but that doesn't even matter. That's irrelevant. The only issue that I was having, though, is the fact that these blazes were multiplying by the second. This was probably a 1v10 at this point, and I mean, I was kind of winning. I was boom, boom. I was dodging their fire, my shield was holding up, I was getting as many hits and attacks in as I could. Boom, boom. And I was on their level now with this gravity, so I was able to boom, 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 boom. And then, more would spawn. Boom, boom, boom. And I did in fact die again, but I made it back. I'm now at 4, blaze rods. I just need 2 more. It shouldn't be that hard. So I'm feeling confident than ever. I'm strategic here. So boom, boom, boom. I got these blaze trapped in a corner. Boom, bam. I didn't give me a blaze rod, but that's fine. And so finally, after about 20 minutes, I was finally getting closer to having what I needed. So after having a little stare off with these blazes before they rudely shoot fire at me, I finished them off. I had 5 blaze rods. Boom, boom, boom. I now have 6 blaze rods, and that's all I needed. So, I got thrown in the air one more time, and I decided to finish off this other blaze rod, and then finally destroy the spawner, and be on my way to a Bastion. I did make a pit stop again in the overworld, though, to get more food. That way I could heal myself up in case anything happens. So when I went back to the nether, I found a Bastion fairly quickly, and so I, went around, took all the stuff from their chests. I was looking for gold, but I couldn't find any. I wasn't seeing any mean creatures around here yet, so I wasn't too scared to drop down in this hole, and there was the piglins standing right in front of me. So I just went ahead and blocked myself in, because these piglins genuinely scare me. They are aggressive, they are violent, they're strong. They're very, very strong. This guy just killed me now because of how strong he is, and this no gravity thing is really messing me up, because 1 second I was in the Bastion, and next I was 50 feet above it. I don't know why I mined right into a pig, whatever it's called, but you know, this gravity is actually helping me now because it allowed me to get everything in this chest after I killed the other guy. So I mean, I didn't find anything too good in the chest, but I did find it very resourceful because I did find some things that I could use. And but now this whole no gravity thing is just throwing me all around and messing me up, and so I'm getting killed, and I'm trying to run, but there's nowhere to run to. So eventually I very safely made my way to another part of the Bastion, but I wasn't really able to find anything. I think I might have found a chest or two, but it's unsure. I killed some more of the pig guys with the golden axes, and they were all fighting back. They're very stubborn. They don't die. There's ones behind me, ones in front of me, to the left of me, to the right of me. It stresses me out, honestly. But I did find another chest, and it had some pretty decent stuff in it, and I took the crossbow from it. I found another chest, and it had some pretty decent stuff in it. And then for some reason, while I was looking around, I decided just to walk right off the edge because, you know, I guess it was just what I felt like doing. And so I did, in fact, die again for the 50th time. But fear not. And so eventually I did try to go to some alternative methods of getting ender pearls, but these endermen are also really strong, and I'm quite uncoordinated. So I died again, and then, you know, almost again, because, you know, these guys have long arms, and I can only do so much sometimes, so, you know, but I was able to kill this other enderman, and I finally got my first pearl, so I made my way down there to collect it. But then I got impatient again, so I went to just I found a whole nother bastion, because why not? And so, while I thought I was safe, apparently I wasn't, so I ran, and everything was just going wrong. It wasn't going right. You know, I went to go kill this guy, and he just killed me again. Like, they just keep killing me, and there's only so much I could do with my small shield and my weak armor and my sword, but eventually I was able to get payback and kill all these guys. And so I was finally making it somewhere in this bastion because I was finally able to get to the other chest, and, you know, I found some pretty decent stuff in there too, and so I stole it all, and everything like that, and eventually I finally found some gold to trade with the stupid piglins that I've been trying to trade with this entire time. So I took all the gold and made my way to a place where piglins were located. And it definitely did take a while, and eventually I got bored of waiting, so I decided to make a portal to be able to get out of the Nether in the first place. And eventually the piglin finally gave me all the pearls that I needed, so I made my way out as quickly as I could because I was tired of being in the Nether. And by the time I got out, I forgot the no gravity thing was even a thing somehow. And so while I was trying to make my ender eyes, I went in the air, and I was trying to clutch it, but I failed, and so I was just back in my old portal. But then I finally did make the eyes, and I made my way right to that stronghold. And I actually really wish it was that easy, because when I did find a point where my thing was going, like my ender eyes were going into the ground, it wouldn't, I was digging down, but I wasn't finding anything, and so I had to dig, I just had to do a lot of digging, and I wasn't finding anything, so I just kept using the no gravity thing to get back out of the holes that I was digging, and I would, you know, throw my ender eyes again, but it would just land in the same exact spot. So I was just kind of at a loss here, because I was like, what the heck, man, this is not cool. So after 5 years of just digging holes, I finally dug right into the stronghold. But so after finally rummaging through a few chests and a few rooms in the place, you know, I just wasn't finding anything, and I had spent so long looking for this portal room until eventually, you know, after floating around for a little bit, I finally did find it, which thank God, because I was getting a little impatient because I was finding everything but this freaking portal room. So when I finally got there, I destroyed the spawner, that way I wouldn't get attacked. And so I put all the eyes on the frames, and I went right in. And like I said, I was trying to use this no gravity thing as strategically as possible. So I flew up into the air, and I was shooting the end crystals in the air. You know, boom! You know, my aim was pretty good. Boom! You know, I missed that one. We're gonna ignore that. Boom! You know, boom! But then I plummeted right back into the ground, but, you know, fear not. This dragon was, in fact, sabotaging me, though, so once I was in the air again, I tried getting more of the crystals again, because, you know, at least I can get one while, 2 for 1, you know what I mean? I'm in the air, but I get the crystals and part of the dragon. So, you know, it was kind of working out. So eventually I had the grand idea of trying to get ender pearls. That way, I could use them to pearl to the ground if I'm falling. So as I was getting the endermen, they kind of just started floating up. So that plan quickly went down the drain. But that's okay, because my next goal was to finish getting the end crystals that were caged in. So I got one of them, and I was finally able to, you know, maneuver a little bit to where I could get another one. And so eventually I had most of the crystals done. I landed on a pillar, but an enderman killed me. But I made my way back. I was able to catch myself, you know, but all I could do was stare because I was stuck in the air. But eventually I was able to get the last end crystal, and now the only thing left to do was kill the dragon. I was trying to use the bed strategy, but I'm not too familiar, so I kept dying, you know, played a little ring around a rosy with these endermen for a second before I went back into battle with this ender dragon. I was able to get another hit in on the dragon, before, you know, everything caught on fire and I got launched into the air again. So I was just trying to do what I was trying to use what I could and get as much damage as I could with my situation. And so eventually all I could really do until the dragon perched was shoot it with arrows, and, you know, so I was getting some pretty decent damage on it. And so I quickly ran up after it perched, and I got a few more good hits on it, but it kept flinging me away because it's wings. And so I just kept shooting it with my crossbow, you know, getting even more and more damage. Boom! Boom! You know, I healed up a little bit just in case, and these endermen were coming at me again now, and that wasn't that cool. So then I got more hits on the dragon. I was just trying to get as much damage as I could until eventually it launched me 50 feet in the air again. So, you know, that's a bit of a hardship, but that's okay. I died again. And while I was levitating, I finally found like a place where I could sit still, and then the dragon hit me off again because it was sabotaging me. And this dragon would not perch for the life of me. And eventually when it did, gravity just took me right off my feet. And eventually I was able to get more hits in, but there was an issue with my game, and so I couldn't like fully beat the game. But had I had more time, I definitely could have. But you know what? I'd say I made it pretty far, and I'd say I did pretty good. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.